Oh, okay. Yeah, we can start off with a shot.
6 shots, no goals, right? So I saw you had something special.
Yeah, we got a little bit of the Canadian iced tea.
Like the Canadian iced tea.
Unsweetened though.
Oh, mama, that's a real shot of iced tea, unsweetened. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, happy Sunday, February 21st.
There it is. Cheers, man. Let's make this one count.
All right. Whew. Solange.
Oh, I haven't done a big shot in a long time.
Oh, my goodness. Whew. Well, boys and girls, you are tuned into 6 Shots, No Goals. I'm Tyler.
Brad.
That's Brad.
Nice to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you. This is the 4th edition of this this web telecast, but the first one that will probably be meeting your eyes and ears. So I'd like to welcome you to my computer room. We keep Brad's family far, far away from here. This is no place for children.
Yeah,
no. No place for children.
There's no place like home.
Yeah, I feel like that was supposed to be like a blessing, not a curse, you know?
Yeah, it's a nice escape for me, man. On a Sunday night.
Yeah, well, here we are. And first of all, I suppose we should give a shout out to a couple of our friends and sponsors. We got Grim and Proper Art to thank for the imaging that you saw at the start, little title screen. That's from our buddy Colby. So find him on Instagram at grimandproper.art. And for the tunes, our buddy Nate, you can find him at Grossbuster Music. Grossbuster Music for our homie Nate. And thanks, shouts to a couple of real ones.
Yeah, it's beauty.
Doesn't get much realer than that.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
So today we are going to slide right into the first of our 7 analyses on the North Division, the Canadian teams, which makes a lot of sense because that's where we at, and we expect that's where many of you will be at if you do tune in, all 14 of you.
Hockey. Yeah.
Hockey, baby, it's back. COVID is ravaging the league.
Yeah, that is a story.
The Vancouver Canucks lead the league with 21 games played, and there are teams with as few as 14.
Yeah,
so a major gulf.
Yeah.
Or maybe even less. How many has Dallas played?
12's Dallas?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, lost 5 in a row, which is, anyways, we're not going to talk about it, but start off with a bang.
Well, yeah. or I don't know, there's so much to talk about. We're not even getting into the rest of the league, but like my Florida Panthers looking real hot these days, absolutely smoking the whole show.
Great.
Dadonoff's gone, no problem. They don't seem to miss Evgeny. Evgeny? How do you say it?
I have no idea. Let's go with Evgeny.
We have Russian friends.
Evgeny. Do we?
Yeah.
I don't know any Russians.
I used to date a girl named Evgeny.
Where are you Russian to?
I used to work for a Russian family when I was in Toronto, and those were some of the nicest people I ever met in my life. Remind me to tell you some stories, though, later when we're off camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, interesting.
Might have to stick that on camera.
Sneak
it in.
Oh, I don't think there's any chance we're doing that.
Love it.
So, yeah, like I said, first of the 7 Canadian teams that we're looking into this week is Les Habitants.
Let's do it.
Yeah, the Montreal Habs.
We decided to take a good look at these Montreal Canadiens, a couple weeks ago when they were on fire.
Yeah, but life does get in the way.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that we were definitely a little bit more bullish about their prospects before. As of now, I think that it is Sunday the 21st, and Montreal's just lost to the lowly Ottawa Senators.
Go Sens, go.
And actually, not the first time they've lost to the Senators this year.
Go.
And I think that when you've lost to the Senators twice, then
I don't think anybody's lost to the Senators.
I think you should probably be scratching your head a little bit. However,
maybe the Leafs. The Leafs have lost to the Senators. Might be the only two.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Good.
Just keeping it in the family out east there. But like I was going to say, if you've lost to the Senators twice, you should probably, this early point in the season, you should probably be inspecting what's going on with your team, and we're going to try to help to do that for the Habs fans and the Habs haters alike out there in the Great White North and beyond.
I will say it's nice to actually have them come around and not be as good as we thought they were right off the bat. So
I will say this. I don't think that it's that the Habs aren't good. They can score goals. They can keep the puck out of the net. Their metrics on the power play and the penalty kill are pretty good. They find themselves in the top third of the league in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they're in a bit of a cold spot right now, and I'm not that worried about the Habs. I still think that they're either the second or the third best team in the North. Probably the second. And I think that anything interesting that we're going to have to say about the North is probably going to come down to the two teams in Alberta and the Vancouver Canucks for that last playoff spot, because to me, and I think to you as well, everything else kind of seems like a foregone conclusion already.
Yeah.
Even at this, it's only 20 games into the season, only a third of the way in, and it seems like, you know, there's just a wide gulf between the teams that are good and the teams that are okay, and then the Sens.
Yep, then the Sens. Yep, that's good.
Yeah.
It'll be heartbreakers. I can feel it. Down at the end of the season, 5 games left, they're gonna heartbreak for sure.
I guess it's just a matter of whose heart's getting broken, because I see 3 really flawed teams between Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver, and the other 3 teams that aren't the Sens in that division, I think, look good enough to play.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
So why don't we just start it off with how these Habs got built in the first place? Seems like as good a place as any to start is with those free agent transactions. Don't you think?
Yeah, agreed. So 2 pickups on the free agency that are very working out at this point. Corey Perry scored tonight against the Sens, and he has been on and off with them, but got signed to a whatever the minimum $750,000, which is crazy, which is the minimum contract or whatever. But he's obviously going to have an impact, especially in the playoffs. But has already had an impact with them. I think he's played 75% of the game so far, and they picked him up off of free agency. The other one, the big one, was Tyler Toffoli.
Right.
Tyler Toffoli, who's done amazingly for them so far.
Currently, as of today, he's leading the team in scoring. He's got a point a game, 17 points in 17 games. I don't know if he scored tonight, but that was accurate as of earlier today.
Yeah, and like you said, the Canucks. What did they do? They fucked up. They fucked up on not getting them.
Yeah, and
they didn't have any funds.
I was more upset about that. I mean, I'm equally upset from hoping that the team that I cheer for is going to win standpoint. But I thought that they just didn't want to pay him. Recently, Jim Benning, GM of the Vancouver Canucks, came out and said that they were trying to move around the money in order to be able to sign Toffoli, but they just didn't get it done in time. And the Habs swooped in and picked him up. That made me feel at least a little bit better about their mind frame, because I thought that they had just let him go because they thought they didn't need him, when clearly secondary scoring is the second biggest problem in Vancouver.
Yeah, and he's the key of that. He's their first line scoring at this point, right?
Well,
secondary.
I mean, he would,
primary.
If he was on the Canucks, he would be leading the team in scoring currently. The only player who's playing exceptionally well for the Vancouver Canucks on offense is Quinn Hughes. Everybody else has been either about what you would have expected or a little bit of a disappointment. Offensively, at least. Now, defensively, that's more of a team problem, but we can get to that later.
Yeah, that's good. I'll let you get to the Canucks.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But, Tyler Toffoli,
great pickup.
He's been fantastic for them. Everything that they could have asked, and all for the low price of $4.5 million a year.
Yeah, four and a half a year. Yeah, low price. Yeah, that's hard for us to say, sitting in this nice little condo right here, but still, that is low in this league at this point. So, and
also, this place is cheap for Victoria, even though it is basically a 130-year-old dung heap.
You got a skylight in the bathroom, though.
Yeah, it's a skylight in the bathroom.
Yeah.
No, it's really nice when you're just there relaxing, getting away from the family, reading your text.
Yeah.
Having
a pee and listening to the rain.
Just taking the 10 minutes that you need. Like fucking clockwork every morning as soon as I wake up. It's beautiful.
It's great.
It's the only part of my body that works.
Oh, we're off to a banging start.
Who else did they pick up?
Well, that's it on the free agency signing part, but also dealt with the trades. Jake Allen came over in a trade with the Blues.
He's been great.
He's been great. Yeah, they needed a secondary goalie to kind of take off the pressure of Carey Price, who has been okay-ish, but Carey Price has always started slow. If you always remember, he always starts slow, and then he gets dynamite as the season goes on. So.
Yeah, and in recent seasons when he hasn't been hurt, he's been the kind of goalie that you can expect, and I know this for fantasy purposes more than watching the Habs, to be perfectly honest. He's a guy that you can expect to start 70 games in the regular season, and he's just in an age right now, or from now on, I guess I should say, that he can't really be expected to do that anymore.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, agreed. So, great pickup for them on that back end. Obviously, when it gets to playoff time, which we're pretty sure they're going to make the playoffs, obviously going to run Price, but nice secondary backup to have in there because the league is going way more to 2 goalies instead of just 1, right? So,
all of the old, and I'll try not to get off too much of a tangent on this, but like all of the old like orthodoxies in professional sports, like, you know, like nobody in baseball really has just one closer anymore, or rather fewer and fewer teams do if they don't have Aroldis Chapman or somebody like that, right? Yeah. And like fewer and fewer hockey teams are trying to start a guy 70 games a year, just because the old idea used to be give the guy as much work as possible and he'll stay sharp, but now we know that's not necessarily how bodies work.
Yeah, fair enough.
And also from a protecting their investment sort of standpoint, you don't need to play a guy 70 games and then have him hurt his groin in the 69th game and then he's no good for you in the playoffs. Yeah. Got to keep a guy rested and well, especially a guy like Carey Price who is into his 30s.
Ooh, so old.
He's so old.
40 this year.
Yeah, well, hey man, I got my 39 coming up, and I just watched Tom Brady absolutely thump my Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl at age 43. So
you owe me $10, by the way.
Oh yeah, anything is possible. That's true. I forgot.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to rub it in too soon after, but it's been long enough now.
No, it hasn't. Still hurts.
Yeah.
Still hurts.
The other big pickup for them, a couple actually, but Josh Anderson. Josh Anderson got picked up from the Blue Jackets for the Max Domi deal, as you remember.
You know, I actually read an article today that I had to translate from French, and the translation, the Google Translate, wasn't super clean, but the basic gist of the article is, why would the Columbus Blue Jackets have ever traded this guy? And I can't say that I disagree with anything that I read. He's tough, he's fast, he's got a killer wrist shot. Yeah. Kid looks really good.
Yeah, on fire too, right? Up there in their scoring, and definitely big pickups. That was definitely one of the biggest things they did. And to finish off their pickups, the Joel Edmondson pickup was a great little pickup who we got from the Hurricanes, and for what, a 5th round pick, right? So another beauty pickup who's been very solid back there and playing a ton of minutes. So it's a lot of off-season pickups that have proven big for them, right? You know, you tie them in with the Shea Webers, and we don't even have big time notes on that. But Sherrod, there's a good team under there. They might be fluctuating right now, but I actually still think they're one of the leading teams. And when it comes to playoff time, if it's Montreal, Toronto, first round, my money's on Montreal. That's it. At this point, my money's on Montreal.
I don't know if at this point I believe that Montreal has the horses to stop that potent Toronto offense. I definitely think the Jets probably do at this point. However, like, you could see a number of guys on this Montreal team that haven't even woken up yet. You got a guy in Thomas Tatar who hasn't even really started to score yet this year. You got Jesper Kotkaniemi, who... oh my god, I love him so much.
I love that name.
Oh my god, it's so...
That's as good as it gets. Right,
I feel like, you know what I feel like? I feel like it's like how you have, like, in, like, fantasy novels, you have hobgoblins and you have goblins. So, like, Antiniemi was, like, the goblin, and then Jesper Kotkaniemi is, like, the hobgoblin. It's like they're from, like, the same... There's the Anti and the Cocky. They're from, like, the same cock family. And, yeah, I mean, that guy's going to wake up. He's only got 8 points so far, but he's a really good hockey player. I like him a lot. Joel Armia, a guy that was a really big part of that Buffalo Sabres prospect pool, and then eventually got to them by way of Winnipeg when he didn't work out in their system. There was a big trade that happened about 4 years ago. I want to say it might have been the first Paul Stastny trade that Armia was a part of, and I remember a lot of the guys online being really, really upset to lose Armia.
Okay.
Anyways, he looks like a really good hockey player to me. Corey Perry, he's still an NHL player.
Yeah, well, he's going to come in. We talked about him a little bit, but you know that's more of a playoff piece, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a depth piece at this point, but he played really well in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, big time.
And I didn't think he had anything left in him, and he did, which even though he's a Team Canada guy, really grinds my gears. Tell you one thing about Corey Perry right now. That guy plays hockey right on the edge. Plays it right on the edge.
I like it.
Yeah. So we've gotten through. Is that what you have?
That's through the trades and free agent pickups. So why do you pick up on the drafting? And because that was your.
Yeah. So as far as Habs that are playing on the team that were actually drafted in house now playing on the team, they have of course Brendan Gallagher, who's one of their top line wingers.
Get to the playoffs and that kid's He's hard. He's hard to deal with.
Yeah, he's
the guy you hate to play against, but you love
tough,
him.
gritty. A lot of Alex Burrows in his game. I like him a lot.
Yeah, bitch.
That makes everybody mad except me because I love you, Alex Burrows. I know you're watching. And I love you, buddy.
Does anybody really love Alex Burrows?
With all my heart.
I'm sure his wife does.
I have his T-shirt, man. I used to wear it at work just to make you mad.
That's hard. That's embarrassing. Yeah.
Just to upset you and Mark and those guys.
Put a Sens logo over top of it just to put that. Canucks Burrows.
There was a time this man was my boss. He probably could have gotten away with it, but
yeah, I sure could have.
Now we're just
I should have thought of that.
Now we're just a couple of old ex-bartenders drinking in my condo, talking about hockey on a Sunday night.
Speaking of which, I need refreshing.
All right, well let's take a quick break, and you'll hear a word from our sponsor, which is absolutely no one. And that was a word from our sponsor, absolutely nobody.
Hey, if you want a sponsor, please call us at
Do not post your phone number on here. We'll
How would you find us?
Oh yeah, actually, if you do want to find us, you can find us at sixshotsnogoals@gmail.com.
Damn.
Because I did make us an email address.
Thank God you're here, Tyler.
I know, obviously. I couldn't believe it wasn't taken.
Yes.
Gmail's been going for a long time, and nobody has come up with that stupid name.
I think we're onto something. That's it.
So we were just talking about the in-house draft prospects that now play for the team who are no longer prospects. And we got through Brendan Gallagher. There's also my boy Jesper Kotkaniemi, who was a third rounder in 2018. They got Arturi Lehkonen in the bottom six playing from the 2013 draft in the second round. Also Jake Evans, a seventh rounder from 2014 that's worked out as, I'd say, more than just a warm body.
Definitely none of them are good a name as Kotkaniemi, though.
Well,
that's really...
With one exception.
Kotkaniemi.
Okay,
I'll leave it alone, but man, I go home thinking about
I have no idea how we're going to put this online. Okay, so my favorite name on the team is actually Alexander Romanov, who's been doing some really, really good work on defense for these Montreal Canadiens. Second round pick, 37th overall in the 2018 draft. Kid looks like a pro. But more importantly, every time I see him play, the only thing I can think about is the Romanov dynasty from Russia, like before the Communist Revolution. He was, Alexander Romanov sounds like a czar. And not like an American drug czar, or like a Russian fucking czar.
Don't fuck with them, man.
No. Do you know about Rasputin? Do you know about this guy?
Okay. Yeah, Rasputin.
Yeah,
the Russian queen.
Yeah, it's the guy from the song. Oh. Did you know that motherfucker was so tough that so he was always bagging the king's wife. The reason why he got to be in with the royal family.
Wasn't he super short? Was he 5'2" and grangly?
He wasn't a large man, but let's be honest, nobody was back then. They didn't have doctors. They used to treat a cough with cocaine. Anyway, so this dude, the royal king and queen's son, he was always really sickly. So this guy managed to worm this Rasputin. He managed to worm his way into the royal family as the healer for this kid, and he was he hung out with witches and shit, and was this bad dude, and the king hated him, and the king tried to kill him a couple times, but he was unable to, because every time he was about to do it, his wife would always be like, no, because if you kill him, our son will die, because apparently Rasputin was always just in the right place at the right time, and every time he would do some weird shit, the kid would just get better from his rheumatism or whatever was giving him grief at the time. So eventually, he banged the queen one too many times, and the king and his buddies were like, okay, this guy's gotta go. So they shot him in the head twice, and a number of other times in his body, and then they wrapped him up in a carpet and threw him into a St. Petersburg River in winter. And he went downstream 2 kilometers, and was so tough that didn't kill him. He managed to get out of the carpet, freezing, and climb like 20 feet onto the shore. And then he died of exposure there. Not from the river, and not from the carpet, and not from the gunshot wounds to the head, but from exposure. And that's the toughest dude of all time.
Yeah, don't.
Maybe not a good man. Maybe not a man we should look up to.
And sorry, this is Representative the Romanov?
That's what I think about when I see Alexander Romanov's name. That's all.
I like it.
Like Rasputin. That's all I have to say.
It.
You know,
that's it. Intro.
I hope that Alexander Romanov is in the league for a very long time, so I can think about that.
I love it
every time he plays.
I love it. Romanov.
Yeah, as far as
don't fuck with the Russians.
It's good advice.
Don Cherry.
As far as
don't fuck with the Russians, man.
I know
Europeans, one thing.
I know Don Cherry's not dead yet, but he's spinning in his grave already. Just hearing you say that.
No, he appreciated the Russians. It was the Europeans that. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. No, he had like sort of a grisly like Cold War respect for his Cold War adversaries, the Russians. Even after they stopped being the Soviet Union, because that happened when we were boys. Mm-hmm. You know, like the Soviet Union was no more by the time both of us were 10. Yep. But Don Cherry didn't forget. Don Cherry lived that Cold War life.
That's right.
He did not forget. Although you people better not forget that. Anyway.
72. Some series.
Yeah. Did you see the you people joke that I made? That's what got Don Cherry canceled.
Oh, right. There you go. Well, let's not get canceled in the first show.
Oh, well, we can't get canceled because we hate Don Cherry.
Oh, sweet. Perfect. There you go. Okay.
No, we're good to go. So, yeah, the way the rest of their roster got built, pretty much other than the guys they drafted themselves and the guys that Brad and I have already talked about, I guess the one guy who's probably the biggest deal is Jeff Petrie. Guy has been playing out of his...
Petrie?
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 I don't know.
Petri dish.
Is he a dish?
He's dishish.
Okay, does he dish?
Oh, he can dish.
Okay, well, okay.
Petrie, it's up for grabs. You guys tell me.
Jeff Petrie.
Anyways, he's been an absolute boon to the team. Thomas Tatar, who was great last year but hasn't been that great this year, and Nick Suzuki, who has been very good this year and I think is going to continue to get better. They both came over in the Pacioretty deal, which everybody thought they were... Well, I don't know if everybody thought, but I remember at the time thinking I was surprised they were moving on from Patches, but they were doing it for monetary reasons mostly. Turns out the guys they got back have been really good for them.
Yep. Yeah, and Pacioretty's been great otherwise too, but...
And then Drouin for Sergachev, I kind of feel like that's the sort of deal that worked out for both sides. I think that Montreal would be really happy if they still had Mikhail Sergachev right now. I think that they're happy that they have Jonathan Drouin right now. Mm-hmm. I think that Tampa Bay could probably say the same.
Yeah, great.
So, yeah, that's one that just kind of worked out.
Yeah. It's a deep roster, you know, when you go through that, like, there's some real good talent there that I think is going to prove itself, you know. Put that on top of the names you haven't talked about. We haven't even talked about Shea Weber, right? Who's like, you know, the leader back there and just a machine back there. And, you know, Sherrod, they're decent deep.
Dano, who's been really good for them too.
Yeah, and this is a league that is lacking defense. There's no teams. There's a few teams. There's barely any teams. Like, the biggest misses on most of these teams is defense. Everybody's got a great offense. Either you're Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Edmonton. Like, there's a lot of offense. Everyone's offense geared.
Well,
you can't win on offense.
There's a lot of offense in the North in particular too. If you look down in goals scored per game, there's 4 teams in the North in the top 13.
Yeah.
So the North is scoring, other than Calgary and Ottawa. But yeah, those 5 teams in the North are scoring goals. Just other than Winnipeg, nobody's really keeping them out of the net. Yeah. And the second best team at that happens to be these Montreal Canadiens because they actually have some guys. And Carey Price still isn't playing that well, so it could stand to get quite a bit better for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Then the future is also kind of bright for Montreal because they have Cole Caulfield in the system. There's a couple other guys. There's Caden Gooley and Caden Primo, and they have some guys in the prospect, particularly Cole Caulfield. He's small, caused him to drop to 15 in the draft last year, but the kid has an elite shot, and he is the U.S. National Development Team, whatever the hell their development program is called, the U.S. NDDP. He's their all-time leading scorer. He he crushed Phil Kessel's all-time record of 104 goals. He's got 126, Caulfield does. And Austin Matthews' single-season record of 55. Caulfield got 76 goals for that program last year. In that program last year. So kid's looking pretty good.
Pretty good, and it's not the Holden Caulfield. It's not catching on the rye.
No. Although he does like rye, because we're talking about him on 6 Shots, No Goals, where we drink rye.
Good for you, Cole Caulfield.
Cole Caulfield.
Yeah, let's have some rye.
Stone Cold Caulfield.
Should we have some rye?
Oh yeah, is it that time?
I think so.
All right. Well,
6 shots, right?
Well,
6 shots. It's Sunday.
Let's take a break and to our sponsor, Some Whiskey Company, that I'm covering up with my hand.
If you want to sponsor us in your whiskey company, we will drink your whiskey.
Also, 100%. We do believe in shopping local. So there's in the city that we live in Western Canada.
But it doesn't have to be local.
No, but it'd sure be nice if it was, though. It'd sure be nice if it was.
Yeah, you're gonna stretch it out.
However, if it was Weiser's, shit, man, I'd say it was local.
Sign you up.
I'd say that we were from Saskatchewan.
There
if
we
it
go.
was Weiser's.
We are.
We are.
As well be.
Weiser's, we are from Saskatchewan now.
You don't have a hockey.
6 shots, no goals.
Holy salut.
Woo!
My French friends. Salut.
And, allez les habitants. I don't really want you to be great, but you might be. And I think your team's going to be good for a while.
I think they're good. Yeah, they made some nice moves, and I'm more impressed with the Habs. I've hated them less this year than I ever have.
You're a Sens fan, right?
That's correct.
And as a Sens fan, how historically have you felt about Les Habitants?
Well, historically, the Sens actually have a pretty good record against Montreal. We've actually beat them in most cases, but there's still a strong hatred because it's right there. Ottawa, Montreal, it's right there.
How long does it take to drive from city to city?
2 hours.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Whereas Toronto's 4 hours, but if you want to talk about hate, we can talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. You don't hate the Edmonton Oilers.
I don't hate the Edmonton Oilers because when the Edmonton Oilers were dominant, I was a little boy. The Edmonton Oilers stopped winning Stanley Cups when I was 7 years old.
Yeah. And the Oilers didn't own the Canucks, although they beat them. The Habs have never owned the Senators, whereas Toronto has owned the Senators. Oh, that's hard to say. Can we edit that? Without editing. That's hard to say. But in the playoffs, they owned them. So you hate that team. Whereas the Flames, you're going to hate the Flames. Right?
I mean, yeah.
Oh, the Bruins.
The Bruins was just the one series, but yes, I hate them very much. Okay. I think the more appropriate one for Vancouver is the Chicago Blackhawks, which was a very good rivalry some 10 years ago.
Johnny Taves. Love it.
They were a very good team, and they actually stand to be a very good team again, that Chicago Blackhawks team.
That's something as a side note. They're in second place, I think.
Yeah, we'll put a little tab on that one.
Yeah.
My boy Alex DeBrincat is looking real good. He's looking real good. And Patrick Kane is ageless.
Yeah, Kane's amazing. Yeah, they've played way more games than a lot of other teams in that division, but
they look good.
They look good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're winning games. I don't know.
Yeah, some things are upside down of what we first predicted, but
back
knows what we predicted because
back at the bar that we used to both work at, there was a certain number of years where I didn't work there yet, but I was going to university, and I remember I made friends with one of my sociology professors, and I brought her into the pub one time, and it was for a Sens Leafs game, and she was a big Leafs fan.
Okay. I can see where this is going.
Really smart, lovely woman. Was really good to me, like major influence on me as a young man. And she comes in wearing a Dougie Gilmore jersey, and immediately Mark's behind the bar. This guy that we both know and love very much. Mark's behind the bar, and he starts chirping her, and he goes, "Hey, did you hear about the new area code in Ottawa?" And he goes, "No, what is it?" She goes, "Oh for 4."
Oh for 4.
Because Toronto beat Ottawa in the playoffs 4 years out of 5.
Yeah, that's fair. Good for her. I love it.
If I remember correctly, you guys all liked her very much, even though she was a Leafs fan.
Yeah, I don't remember you, but well done. Yeah. Fucking Leafs. Can't get to that.
Yeah, anyway. So I think that's about all we have to say.
That's it on the Habs?
Well, do you have anything else to say about the Habs?
My last piece, I think, on the Habs is fuck you, Habs, and go Sens go.
Fair enough.
I can't believe that I'm giving you praise, but I actually think you're a pretty good team this year. I hope you don't win the Stanley Cup, but I hope you beat the Leafs, and I hope you make it out of that round of whatever it is, the 4 divisions and all those things. I hope you're the one that comes out of it, and then you get beat bad by whoever beats you.
I hope that the Jets come out of it, since it seems impossible that the Canucks are going to. But if it had to be somebody else, I guess I would choose the Habs.
There we go. Enough said.
So I guess at current, the Habs are my 3rd favorite team in the North.
Okay. At current, the Habs are my 2nd least favorite team of all time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I got a lot less at stake here. However, the Habs have been feeding the Vancouver Canucks their lunch this year, especially Tyler Toffoli, who has been on fire against us every time we play. And every time we play the Habs, we don't just lose a close one. It's like 5-2, 6-2. Yeah. Every time. They have just been giving us shellackings. So maybe the Habs aren't that good. Maybe they've just been playing the Canucks a lot.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Could be.
Okay.
Which I do believe will lead us into the next segment, which is... Well, hold on.
Oh.
The next segment of our series, which is the rest of the North.
Oh, okay.
We are the North.
We are the North. Cheers. You're going to pause.
Stop saying it. God, I'll never pause this.
Solid light. Is the microphone on? Video on?
I think the video's on.
Oh, cheese knees. We're gonna have another. This is 3. Are we gonna make it to 6?
Well, I mean, it's 6. It's 6 total. If we ever make it to 6 shots each doing this podcast, we're gonna be in big trouble.
Big shots of 6. Yes, I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna go home Sunday. Happy Sunday, my friend.
Happy Sunday.
Cheers.
Sure am glad that I don't have a job that starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's early yet. It's early yet.
I spilled it.
Oh, okay.
Let's drink it.
Here's to the North.
Here's to the North. Zing.
I just want to stare at the camera while I process this.
Some really good iced tea you have, yeah.
Yeah, wow. I made it here in house. That was another word from our sponsor.
Yeah, where do we need some sponsors? Fire one up.
Fire some sponsors up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we talked
Doesn't
about.
It have to be just whiskey. It could be anything, really.
It can really be anything.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, name it.
T-shirt sponsors.
That over, so
granola sponsors, like really like.
I don't know about granola.
I enjoy a granola. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to come in a bowl.
Squeeze packs.
Sure, why not?
Those are for my kids. That's probably not.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to feed your kids.
It's true, man.
Come on.
Yeah, mango, please. Extra mango. Okay, where are we?
We're gonna talk about the rest of the North.
Okay, let's do the rest of the North.
Yeah, we're
the North.
I don't know, just like
we the North, as they say.
As they say in Raptor Town.
Yeah, Raptor Town. We're not going to talk about the Raptors because I know nothing about the Raptors.
They've been playing better.
We can get there.
They've been playing better.
Great.
I wouldn't say I'm a Raptors fan so much as a Raptors well-wisher. And
agreed.
They're one of the teams I like. They're not my team. Mm-hmm. I was very pleased for them when they won it all a couple years ago, and that was a really fun playoff run to watch.
Super fun. Yeah, agreed.
But they're starting to pull it together. I have a feeling, and you heard it here first, that there's going to be a big trade before the deadline in the Raptors camp. I have a feeling that all-time greatest Raptor Kyle Lowry is going to get shipped out of town.
Trade him. Trade him up.
They
don't need him. He's injured. They're winning without him.
Well, it's not that. It's not that so much as that they are not in a contention window, and why keep your most expensive player when you're not in a contention window?
And you don't need him.
They need him. They need him. He's the leader. He's the heart and soul of that team, and he's got the booty to end all booties. Have you ever seen Kyle Lowry's butt?
Can we cut to a booty shot of this?
Hold on. I'm gonna pause for just 1 second. We'll be right back.
Tell me.
It's a very
Tell
good-
me more about Kyle Lowry's booty.
So we literally just paused for a second so I could show Brad some pictures of Kyle Lowry's ass.
I never knew there were so many memes about Kyle Lowry's ass.
He's got booty for days, son.
Booty for days.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry, thicker than
But
a bull.
you're telling me that it actually works out on the court because he can back guys off with that big booty.
Yeah, because Kyle Lowry isn't the tallest player in the league, but his center of gravity is very low compared to the tall guys, which gives him a major advantage when it comes to posting up and rebounding.
Is that why Shaq was so good?
No,
'Cause
Shaq
he
was good
never
for.
good at free throws, but man, could he throw that booty around?
Well, I mean, to be truthful, if you're going to be a man of Shaq's size, you're going to have a large booty.
Double whammy.
Like, towards the end of Shaq's career, they had him listed at like 280 pounds, but there's no way. He was 300 plus, no question, towards the end there. He's an enormous man.
Wow.
Are
We were
you
going to touch on basketball?
are you familiar with the phenomenon of Shaq dick?
Shit. No.
Are you?
But enlighten me. Please.
I have to. So Shaq dick is when you're a really, really big guy, but you have an average sized penis, so it makes your penis look really small in comparison to your giant body.
Medium dick problems.
Literally, apparently Shaq has a totally normal dick, but everybody always complained about it being small because he's 7'3". We may or may not air this.
Who complains about that? If you're with Shaq, I'm not complaining. I'll
Well,
tell you right now.
you know, not everybody loves the money. Some people want that big old.
Yeah, but Shaq's so fun.
He's also
fun.
He's really fun now. When he was younger, he was still fun, but he was also like for sure a dick. Pardon me, I guess I should rephrase. A jerk.
Shaq jerk dick.
Ooh.
Dick jerk.
And time.
Yeah, let's go. Okay. And pick it up.
Anyways, that's an actual thing that people know about. I didn't make that up.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. This is news to me.
Yeah, well, I
Kind of follow the basketball hoops.
It's not really basketball, but yeah, I figured you might not know. I figured there was a pretty good chance you didn't know about that.
Okay. Well, there's Kyle Lowry. I'm looking at a picture of Kyle Lowry with a pineapple sticking out of his ass right now, just for the record. Not sure where that's coming from, but hey.
Yeah, it's, I will say one thing for the internet. The internet is best when it's just like people doing the weirdest shit that they can think of and then it catches on. That's why I like the internet. And Kyle Lowry's bum becoming a thing is one of those things about the internet.
It's fun.
It's just fun.
It's fun. Just for you, Kyle Lowry.
Just a bunch of bros and ladies
I
and
hope that-
otherwise having a cool time.
I hope those buns get you a big old contract when you get traded.
Well, he already got a big old contract, which is why he's getting traded.
Okay, let's sort things out and move to what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
I'm pretty sure we were still talking about hockey.
Okay, that's right. Hockey. 6 shots, no goals. Here we go. Where are we going next?
Well, okay, so we were talking about the North Division. We're currently in the middle of doing a breakdown of each of the teams in the North Division,
Okay.
and this is the first one. This is about the Habs. How are the rest of the teams in the North doing?
Okay, who's next?
Well, might as well start with the Leafs because they're at the top.
Really? We're starting with the Leafs?
Why not?
Okay, sure.
Let's get it out of the way. Eat
Okay.
your broccoli,
Let's
son.
do it. Go ahead, son. What do you want?
Well, I think that is a team that is going to dominate the regular season and break a lot of hearts in Ontario once again when it comes to the late spring, early summer.
I really hope you're right.
I really think I'm right. Austin Matthews, dirty mustache aside, is a hell of a hockey player.
Yeah. He really needs to get rid of that mustache. I know you're trying to look older, but come on.
I don't think he's trying to look older. I think he's trying to look ironic. I think that he has so much confidence that.
Isn't trying to look ironic the absolute opposite of being ironic?
Well, no, but I just think that guy has so much self-confidence that he thinks that anything he does with his facial hair looks good.
I think, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's an odd situation. Really? Wow. I didn't know we were going to talk about mustaches and...
This is a free-flowing podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Or whatever this is.
I like that. That's good.
But he has scored something ridiculous, like 16 points in the last 18 games.
I think he's got 16 goals.
Yeah, he's
leading the league in goals by a mile.
He's on
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
I think he's third in league scoring after the two boys in Edmonton that we'll talk about later, and he looks like the real deal. I saw Marner break out an absolutely disgusting deacon dish the other day. They actually benched Nylander. Did you see that?
Yep.
At the end of the game last night.
Yep.
And also, there's a lot of things to say, but one thing I will say quickly is that Morgan Riley is starting to come around as the guy that they always hoped that he would be. At least from a scoring standpoint. They can't. I know there's going to be a lot of pause moments here because nobody wants to talk about the fact that the Leafs are actually good right now.
Yeah,
and
I don't like talking.
And they don't look just like kind of good.
They're the best in the North right now.
They look like the best team in the league right now.
Above. Yep.
However, I don't believe that success is sustainable because I don't believe in their leadership and I don't believe in their toughness.
And they're also playing some teams that are very shaky. You know,
yeah.
You got Calgary.
They're getting a lot of those wins against Vancouver.
Yeah. Ottawa.
Yeah.
Montreal-ish. They're getting some shaky wins. You're going to play teams like Boston all the time. You're going to play teams like Vegas. You're going to play teams like St. Louis.
Teams like
That's
Tampa.
That's going to grind you. Yeah, Tampa, exactly, right? Those are teams that are going to grind you out. This isn't a regular season for them, and they're playing above their average.
And they also have them and Ottawa and Montreal and Winnipeg are also traveling less than they've ever traveled before. So as far as that part of the schedule goes, it's actually been pretty cream puff for them. But who's to say how much that helps or how much that doesn't help?
Here's what I noticed the other day, is that when Toronto played Ottawa in that 3-game series, they were up 5-1, and then Ottawa came back and won that game 6-5. Blah blah blah. That happens. Weird shit happens.
That was the most fun you.
It was super fun. Yeah, super fun. Yeah, I actually didn't get to see that game, but heard about it and then watched the highlights. But what does happen in the next game is a tighter game that obviously everyone's a little bit more dialed in, and it's not as freewheeling. And the Sens one-on-one'd him the entire game, and he did nothing. Okay, he scored a goal, but still. They one-on-one him, and when you shut him down, nobody else could do anything. Tavares, love the guy. Yeah,
I think he's the guy that we can agree is the Leaf we can't hate.
We can't hate him, but here's where the differentiation comes.
Go ahead.
Is that a word? Differentiation?
Yeah, it's real.
That's a word. That's it.
That's a word.
You got guys that are, and I wanted to bring this up before, and I haven't yet. You've got guys. Here's the guys. Okay. The Joe Sakic's and Yzermans from back in the day. Okay, cool. They translated into the Crosbys and the Jonathan Taves and the Bergerons. Those are grinder captains. You know what I mean? Those guys led their teams. They absolutely dominated and would prove to
Zdeno Chara.
Zdeno Chara, absolutely. Right in there. Oh, Alex Ovechkin.
How about Alexei Kopitar?
Kopitar, yes, on a different level, but I'm talking about just pure captains. Jonathan Tavares is a captain of the new realm, and I'm going to put him in a category of this. I'm going to put him in a category of him. Austin Matthews, who isn't quite there, who's not quite a captain yet. I'm going to put him in the just these captains that don't quite grind hard. Connor McDavid. Guys who are ridiculously skilled but don't grind hard. Jonathan Taves, do you remember him fighting? Do you remember him fighting Chara and standing up? Remember him fighting Jerome McGinley is another captain of that realm where they would do anything to win. You ever see McDavid really do anything to win? He's the best player in the league. He's the most skilled player in the league. Connor McDavid, agreed. Crosby's, Ovechkin's, Taves, and Iginla's, those guys are guys that are going to do anything to win.
They sell
That's
all the way
where
up.
the league has
they're
dissipated a little bit.
They're
and
real.
Tavares,
They're real
is Tavares
leaders.
that guy?
No,
that's my question.
No, Toronto doesn't.
I think he's the new realm of guys that don't do that.
I would say Toronto doesn't have that guy.
But Matthews isn't that guy.
But
Matthews is as skilled as anybody gets in the league.
But
he's not.
To be fair,
guy who's going to drop him.
To be fair,
prove himself.
To be fair, most teams don't have that guy.
Now.
Period. Because all the guys that you just listed have a cup, and there's a lot of really good players in the league that don't. There's a lot of really good franchises in the league that don't have a cup in recent memory.
Yeah, I agree, and this is a big thing that I think will come out of this and out of our talks and our podcasts or whatever it is go, what happened? Well, is it because they stopped hitting when they were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old? and this is a new realm for the league. My son's 6. He plays on a hockey team. That's some brand new stuff, but they got a stop sign in the back of the... I get it. You don't want to hit people from behind, but you still got to hit. You still got to be able to hit.
You got to be
the
tough.
NFL is a perfect example of somebody who's like, okay, you're not going to take headshots, but you're still going to hit, right? Mm-hmm. There's some damaging hits on that. For a hockey team to be credible, you look at old guys like Scott Stevens and all these guys who used to throw their body around and throw their absolute everything at this game and go at it. The new league is a little different.
Okay,
and Jonathan Tavares, I think, is the very first captain of a team who doesn't do that.
No, of course he's not. There's been guys for years.
Stamkos.
I would like to say at this juncture that I am really glad the guys aren't playing like Scott Stevens anymore.
I agree-ish.
I just think that it's a better game now that like, can Paul Correa even still spell his own first name?
That's fine, but as a player, and we've done this before, where you're the guy who hasn't played hockey and you've seen the game and you've seen the rules and you've seen all this or whatever. I get it. I don't want people to get injured. I don't want people to die. Nobody's ever died in the NHL from a fight or a hit, for the record. That is true. No, who's ever died from a hit?
Not from a hit.
Or a fight. Nobody.
Okay.
Trust me. I'll take Don Cherry's note on this one, and I'll be with you. But I agree that it doesn't need to be a 10-step vicious business to it.
So maybe not Scott Stevens.
I'm going to tell you this.
So maybe we agree it's not Scott Stevens.
What beats teams like the Toronto Maple Leafs is a team or a captain like Alex Ovechkin or Jonathan Toews who will go out of their way to hit and take on the toughest guy on that team and really prove themselves and go, this is it. This is what makes a championship.
Okay, so I actually totally agree with you. I just draw the line at how vicious is okay. You know, like, I don't think the dudes need to be Scott Stevens and line guys up. I don't think the dudes even need to be old Alexander Ovechkin or even Alex Edler on the Vancouver Canucks, who used to line guys up with 10 strides in the middle of the ice and knock them into bloody Sunday. That's not a good thing for the league. Dudes can still play physical and play hard and not have
that.
Yeah, I love to see it. Who doesn't? We love watching guys get smoked. I watch MMA.
Watch somebody get fucking smoked.
I watch American football. I watch MMA. I watch dudes get smoked all the time. Would I allow my children to start doing MMA or American football? Absolutely not. And the only reason that I would allow my children to do hockey now is because there's less and less of that all the time. I prefer a skill game. and I'm not ashamed to say it. And guys can still be hard. Patrice Bergeron is, as much as I hate Boston, one of my favorite players of all time. Jerome McGinley is one of my favorite players of all time. And I don't know if I could possibly hate a team more than Calgary.
Yeah.
But Jerome McGinley is one of my. He's probably my favorite non-Vancouver Canuck of all time.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that there is a line. That's all that I'm saying. There is a line, and there is a line that should not be crossed in terms of physicality. There is hard play, and there's cheap shots. No, I agree. I agree.
Never crossed that line.
I agree.
Crosby never crossed that line.
I agree. Scott
Ovechkin
Stevens
never crossed that line.
He did when he was younger. He did when he was younger.
He would throw his body around. What has he ever done? He's not crossed the line. He's no Chris Pronger. That's a crossing the line. That's a guy who crossed the line. Stevens was on the edge.
I think you're nuts if you think that's the edge. I think you're nuts if you think that's the edge.
What's wrong with an open ice hit?
What's wrong with an open ice hit to the head at full speed?
I'm going to tell you this. When you're going full speed and you're going to line somebody up, you can't decipher between hitting them and if you accidentally hit them in the head. If you go at a guy full force and you absolutely crushed him. Paul Correa, that's a hard one because he fucking crushed his head. But if you look at Scott Stevens' lineups all along the way, that was within the rules, and also he's in there. He's not throwing vicious elbows.
That was within the rules then.
That's
exactly what we're
hitting.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
That's called lining a guy up and hitting him. It's called Eric Lindros, Hall of Famer, getting his ass lined up. Well, I didn't know we were going to get into this, but that's what I think right now is missing in the league. And it's actually not a little bit, it's a lot less fun to watch right now because there aren't guys doing that, especially defensemen. And that's why every team in the league so far, to me, is lacking because they don't have a guy that does that. It's an old school hockey style. I get that. I understand that you like the skill and you like the McDavid. And fuck, I love watching McDavid dance through guys and fucking make these beautiful goals. Yes, he's a beautiful skater and nobody is like him. I get it. But if he fucking toughened up 10%,
I agree,
and went at it and was Jonathan Toews style,
okay, but
and broke that barrier,
listen to me, though.
The Oilers would have already won a cup.
Okay, probably not because they didn't have the complementary pieces yet.
He could have done it. Honestly.
Hold on. They didn't have the complementary pieces yet, and no team wins with one player in hockey. We all know that. And I'm not disagreeing with you that there needs to be more grit in leadership, and that forwards are only really great forwards if they bring grit to the game. What I'm saying is that I don't want to go back to the way that it was in 2002. I think that we could get a hybrid from where things are now to where they were before, but I think that we find the hybrid existing in the game right now when we look at all the guys that you just mentioned, like Sidney Crosby, like Patrice Bergeron, like Jonathan Toews. These guys are showing the blueprint. It exists in the league. They are still playing that way.
They are still playing. But the
new I am just saying, because you have made your point, I am just saying that A, I prefer the skill game, and B, I'm not saying I prefer only the skill game. I'm just saying that we don't need dudes lining up on the train tracks, and we have seen what CTE does to players, and I think that the human factor is more important, and that's what I have to say about that.
I'm going to say that I wish it was back to the 2002 days. And because when playoffs start, it's like, okay, everybody's carte blanche, and they wipe it out, and they go, okay, it's playoff time, let's go out there. Ovechkin is, to me, the last of the Mohicans. Bringing up the... But no, there are go out there and pound the shit out of people.
What about Sean Couturier? There's lots of these guys still in the league. There really are.
It's not often now where you see a captain stand up for his team and be the team leader the way that it was before. And I'm gonna.
I love you. I think Bo Horvat's a great team leader.
Yeah,
he's
sure,
tough.
Fine. Yeah,
he doesn't fight, but he does everything else. He
him,
has fought.
I don't need him to fight. I don't want it to be like, oh, you have to go out and fight. But when the time comes and it is time to stand up for your team, it's time to stand up for your team. So if Bo Horvat makes the playoffs, which they're not, and they face the Calgary Flames, or they face the Edmonton Oilers, and they go, you know what, fuck you. I got pushed over by a defenseman by the Oilers, and he goes, you know what, I'm getting 5 cross-checks in the back or whatever, I'm turning around, and I'm going to fight you. And I'm going to take it to you, and I'm going to show everybody that I mean more to this team than just a paycheck. That's where the line is right now, and it's at a teetering point, and I don't like where it's going because nobody's done that. Matthews isn't doing that. Marner's not doing that. McDavid is not doing that. McDavid doesn't say anything. He does nothing. He's incredible on the ice. Absolutely incredible. But they're not doing those things that Jonathan Toews did to win 1, 2, 3 Stanley Cups, to get his boys like Patrick Kane and Smith and all his goalies and everybody else behind them to win that Stanley Cup. You want to win 3? Be Jonathan Toews.
I mean, I just think you've kind of set yourself up in a situation here where you're kind of cherry picking the dudes that you like and then just saying that nobody else is doing it, and I don't see it that way.
Do you think Tampa Bay is going to win the Cup this year?
I think they absolutely could.
They could, but why?
Because Victor Hedman does everything that you just described.
Victor Hedman might be a bit of an example, and I'm going to see what happens this playoffs.
He was the best.
Because before then,
hold on. He was the best player. You have to do it
twice in a row. You don't have to do it twice in a row, but you have to do it twice.
Fair enough. And I agree with you. But Victor Hedman was the best player in the playoffs last year.
I agree. 100%.
He was the best player in the playoffs last year, and they have other guys on that team that can grind.
Meanwhile, Stamkos wasn't with them, what did he play? 1, 2 games in the playoffs?
Something like that.
He was injured as shit. So I agree. I'd love to see Stamkos step up and be that guy like Jonathan Toews did. And I'd like to see, as much as I hate the Leafs, I'd like to see Tavares stand up and be that guy and do that for them. I'd like to actually see, out of anybody, McDavid step up and do something. where he proves to that team he's not just the best player on the team. Everybody knows he's the best player on the team. He's the best player in the league right now, by beyond doubt. But step up and be the best player to that team, not just the league.
You're watching 6 shots, no goals.
Yes.
And Brad and I have found a thing to talk about.
We have directed off of the past. Do we even remember what we were going to talk about?
You know what? We're actually over time. We're actually over time. So I think
let's keep going.
I think we're just going to rip through the rest of the North real quick.
Yes. I got something to say.
We were talking about the Leafs. Let's move down in the standings.
Let me grab a new beer.
Okay, well, Brad's going to grab a new beer. Let's get a word from our sponsor.
Yeah.
That was a word from our sponsor, Sponsor Nobody. Thank you, Nobody, for giving us any money to do this. We will, hell or high water, finish the North Division tonight. Next, we're going to go to the Calgary Flames.
Calgary Flames.
My impression of the Calgary Flames at this point.
I'm going to interrupt you right now, actually.
Oh, is that?
So when I see you and I met you, Tyler, I can't get this out of my mind that you're actually a Canucks fan because you're a redhead and you have a red beard, and every time I see you, I think Calgary Flames. I thought that it was 100% in your identity. If you're a redhead, you have to cheer for the Flames. Is that not the case?
As it turns out, Brad, that is not the case.
Oh.
And also, strange anti-ginger racial sentiment.
No,
going
but
on
it's
here.
not anti-ginger racial. Is ginger racial?
No, it's not.
I don't think
It's
so.
absolutely not.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was okay to bring up. So, I just picture people with big red beards and big red hair.
This is a Landy McDonald thing.
Yes. For the record, before I was the Sens fan, I was the Flames fan. 1989, beat Montreal. Fuck you, Montreal. And you know how you like Justin Turner? You know how you're like, oh, the Dodgers and Turner, you were at that game, you saw him hit that home run and all those things. You had big red hair, kind of looked like him when you had the... Like, I just think it's a thing. It's like, I gotta stick with my redhead boys, and it's like a thing. So I always picture you as a Flames fan, and when I find out you're a Canucks fan, and actually a real Canucks fan, because most Canucks fans are shit.
That's a bullshit narrative.
No, it's real. But you're actually a real Canucks fan who has watched them and cares about them through thick and through thin. Most of them only know when they made the playoffs and Bertuzzi and all that garbage. But I always... My first thought is Flames. So it's not a red-headed thing, I guess.
And I would like to refer directly to the Michael Jordan meme that's been going around the internet and say I took offense to that.
Okay. I didn't mean it to be offensive. It's just an observation.
Why are you a Senators fan?
I am from Canada, which is where the Ottawa Senators have played for 99% of their career.
So
that was the first Sens game ever.
Is that right?
Against Montreal.
Is that right?
Yeah, when they beat them at the Civic Center.
That's cool, actually.
It is cool. Yeah, my dad took me. Very cool. Blah blah blah. We'll get back to the racial thing in a minute.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Flames in a moment, but I'd just like to say there was a very smart person once upon a time who said that sports is to war as pornography is to sex, in that it simulates something that's like kind of vital to the human experience without the danger therein, without the reality therein. So, a lot of the time, when you pick a sports team and you decide that that's you decide that that's your tribe, then most of the time that just has to do with where you're from. And I grew up in BC, and that was my team. Yep. What can I say? You know, what can I say?
Recently, a fellow friend,
and frankly, for all the losses, I wouldn't change a thing, because being a Vancouver Canucks fan has never, much to my chagrin, never led us all the way to the Holy Grail, to the Promised Land.
Right.
But we have had some very high highs. We've had some very entertaining teams, and we've had a good program. We've had a good system the whole way through, and it could be a lot worse.
You've had some riots.
Yeah, who hasn't? Who hasn't?
Yeah. Todd Jacuzzi. That was anyways, okay.
Okay, you can jacuzzi until the cows come home, but like there are places in the world where they have riots when they have like a regular game. Like, have you ever seen what happens with like Real Madrid and Barcelona every time they play?
Yes.
Like, come on.
It's either Guns N' Roses or the Canucks riot. I like it. Vancouver's chaos. Yes. Okay.
Well, Metallica played. Guns N' Roses didn't play.
I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this. That as I've lived here for 20 years on the West Coast, and I'm an out-of-towner. I cheer for Ottawa. Nobody cares about them. Nobody cares about anybody else. It's fine. They care about the Canucks, and we're on an island, and they like the Canucks. That's fine.
Well, now everyone knows where we live.
Your most 90% of your fans are fair weather. But you are actually an exception to the rule, where you followed them and actually been through the ups, been through the downs, and watched every game. A lot of them don't give a fuck during the regular season. Tell me I'm wrong. A lot of them.
You're not wrong, but
80%.
But the problem is that's I've lived in other Canadian cities, and that's everywhere.
It's not in Toronto. It's not.
Yes.
Montreal.
Yeah. Oh,
no.
I lived in Toronto for 4 years in my 20s.
Toronto might plan the cup the second they win 3 in a row, but they're loyal as fuck to their fans.
Okay.
Vancouver fans are the most unloyal fans of all time. Out of any NHL team.
People who live in Vancouver proper, that might be true. The Vancouver Canucks fans are found in Victoria and Salmon Arm and Kelowna and all of these other places in British Columbia. And the reason why they're found in those places is because Vancouver's like LA. Why can't LA keep a football team? Because there's too much to do.
Have you ever met, living in Ontario, I lived there for 20 years, a Canuck fan in Ontario?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, well, literally yes.
No.
I mean, I literally have.
But out here, it's different.
Because nobody's from here.
Loyal.
This is an immigrant place where people come from other places. Okay, if you go to a Vancouver Canucks home game in Vancouver, and it's another one of the Canadian teams, what do you see?
The other Canadians team.
Because they're already here and they go to the game because they moved here because it's nicer here, which is why everybody fucking moves here.
I'm gonna sit back. Yes, 100%.
And then all of those people that came from Edmonton and Ottawa and Toronto and Montreal and all the other places in the country where they adopted those teams, and that's not where they were from, farther east or on the prairies. All of those people move here, and then they meet each other, and then they all agree that the Vancouver Canucks fans are terrible, because all they hear on the media is Vancouver Canucks shit, and all they ever hear is Vancouver Canucks shit, and they hate that. So they get together, because they comprise 65% of the total population, and they talk to each other and they say, aren't the Vancouver Canucks fans terrible? Because there's so many of us that we can agree with one another that they are. And it's a bullshit narrative. It's a bullshit narrative.
We should call this the Canucks podcast, actually. Because you just proved everything I ever wanted to prove completely right. Thank you. Yes. Whether we play this on this podcast or the next or 10 years later, yes, 100%.
I'm just saying.
Well done. That's it.
I'm just saying.
I agree. 100%. Okay. On that note, let's talk about the rest of the note.
So, I feel like the Calgary Flames aren't really good at anything.
Me neither.
It's not that they don't have.
They have redheads.
They don't have enough.
Yeah, fuck them.
It's not that they don't have enough good pieces or anything like that. It's that they have no elite talent, and that they're not really good at the power play. They're not really good at the penalty kill. They're not really good at keeping pucks out of the net. They're not particularly elite at keeping pucks in the net. They're just kind of, like Sean Monahan was supposed to be as good as Bo Horvat, who is not a dude to build an entire team around, but a great captain.
No.
He's not that guy.
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk is not there. Gaudreau is the only elite talent on their team, and he doesn't have the guys to feed him the puck. Elias Lindholm is a very good hockey player, but not a dude to build a team around.
Yeah.
Fucking Mark Giordano is old now.
He's old. He's so good, but he's old. Yeah.
Mangiapane is like not not special. Like, there's just so many guys on that
They
team that are just kind of so.
Yeah.
And they're paying Lucic all that money. And
A trade's coming.
I don't know.
Trade's coming.
They don't seem happy. Tell me about that, because you've been looking into that. Like, they don't seem happy.
The fact that everybody's talking about it is that they don't seem happy. They say problems in the dressing room, blah 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 blah. These guys are making millions of dollars. Should be happy in their dressing room. But when it comes down to it, it's a bunch of misfits in a weird spot. And also, Calgary to me is this weird. Okay, they call it the Sea of Red, right? The Sea of Red. If you go to their stadium...
The Red Mile, 17th Avenue.
Yeah, everybody has, and everybody in Calgary is actually from somewhere else as well, just like where we're from, Victoria, for the record. But they are...
Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag. So they are a team that has this, like, massive red stadium. Everyone's wearing their red jerseys, Sea of Red, blah, 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 blah. But they're a little bit impassionate on the fan syndrome, you know what I mean?
They didn't used to be.
They didn't used to be. The quietest stadium in the league. COVID right now, nobody's there. I get it, but they are doing nothing without the crowd, and they were doing nothing with the crowd. So, to me, trades are coming. Kachuk, that guy is a trade-able piece. Gaudreau, you gonna keep them? What are you gonna do? Giordano, they're in a weird spot, I think.
Okay, so you
remember, in kind of trouble.
You remember how we were talking about Kyle Lowry earlier?
Yep.
I think that Mark Giordano is a Kyle Lowry kind of guy. Like, he's a guy that you get the value that you can out of him now because you know you're not in a winning window.
Yeah.
They got to keep.
You make big impact. If you had Giordano on your D. For a team, like how many teams right now in the
there's
NHL
a number of contenders that there's a number of contenders.
Oilers. Oh my God. Send him to Edmonton. Cup contender.
But he's not going. He's not going to Edmonton. He's going to Dallas or something like that. Like, you know, he's going to a team that actually has a chance to win a Stanley Cup. I'm just saying, like, I like, you know, you build around guys like, you know, keep Dubé. He can stay. You know, like keep. You absolutely can't get rid of Johnny Gaudreau.
Gaudreau's a shit. Man.
And Kachuk and like really boring Sean Monahan.
Monahan's great though.
And
he's a grinder.
Everybody else on that team, I think, is like they need a new identity.
Yeah, agreed.
They have Jakob Markstrom now. He's a good goalie. He hasn't been playing that well, but he's a good goalie.
But he'd be better.
I feel like they're a team in flux. They just don't really. I don't know. I don't know what their
prospect. They are going to finish.
I don't know what their prospect pool is like
in the North.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
I think
they're going to trade some players off,
and
they're going to try and rebuild and half rebuild it and go. Fuck. Well, they're just going to be 7-1 by the Oilers. Like when they light you up for 7 goals in the Battle of Alberta. Doesn't matter if you're Keith Kachuk. Whatever the fuck his name is.
Matthew.
Whatever the son of Kachuk's is.
Matthew
Kachuk. 7-1 is embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like, they need to shake things up. I don't think it's Gaudreau that needs to go. I don't think it's Monahan. I don't think it's Giordano. I think Giordano would be a good move at this point to move, but keep that forward base and keep that grind on. Don't trade Kachuk, because that guy is the lifeline you have left. Buy into that and keep going.
Well, he's just a guy you don't give up on yet.
He's like a Gallagher that is 10 times better.
He's not 10 times better than Gallagher.
He's 7 times.
He'll be lucky to be Gallagher in a lot of ways. He's more skilled. He's more skilled, but he doesn't necessarily.
Oh, the one thing I give Gallagher is more skilled.
You think Gallagher's more skilled than Kachuk?
No,
I don't.
No,
I think that Gallagher works harder, and I think that Kachuk has all the passion and like he's tough, but he lets his head get away from him. And I think that Gallagher plays pretty level. You know, like I think he plays pretty steady game in, game out. Whereas Kachuk's kind of a wild card.
Rein it in, Calgary. You're in trouble.
Calgary,
sure.
we don't think much yet.
I think the Canucks are going to finish higher than the Flames.
5-5 in their last 10.
Yeah, you're fucked.
All right, okay. Edmonton Oilers, hot right now. Their identity is clearly their offense. There's no question about it. They can't keep pucks out of the net. However, interestingly, about a week ago, Mike Smith came back after barely having played at all because he's been hurt. Smith. And he played against the Jets and gave up 4 goals on 11 shots. Since then, He's 4-0 and he's been on fire.
He's a bit of a psycho, is what he is. He's a raging psycho.
Is he a
which
psycho?
is what a goalie needs to be. He needs to be Hasek style. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the Oilers need a lot
way to
more.
name the greatest goalie of all time is what other goalies should be like.
As good as it gets.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. We agree.
Huh.
Hey, cheers for that.
Best I've ever
I'll take
seen.
that.
Best I've ever seen.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. The Oilers have a lot of other pieces to pull together. This year, they're going to make the playoffs, in my opinion.
Okay, I think they're on the bubble, but I like their chances.
I like it a lot. Winnipeg, Montreal, Toronto, Edmonton is my pick for that, and they are going to finish second or third. The Jets and Montreal are going to fight for third and fourth. That's my opinion.
I think that Edmonton.
Sorry, the other way around.
I think
Toronto, Winnipeg,
and then
Edmonton,
Montreal. You think are going to be the ones?
Yeah.
I think that Toronto and then Winnipeg and then Montreal in that order are in, and then the question is going to be the fourth slot, and I think that's going to be Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton fighting it out until the end, and I think it's going to be very close between those three teams.
Vancouver.
However, I do agree with you that Calgary will end up on the bottom. I'm not 100% sure if it'll be Edmonton or Vancouver that finishes, because
Edmonton just has more firepower.
yeah, but
Edmonton's
Edmonton's defense, Vancouver's team defensive game has been terrible with the change of personnel, but the last couple of weeks has shown me Vancouver is starting to take some pride and starting to play more like the team they were last year. Now, I know that we're not talking about Vancouver yet, we're talking about Edmonton, so let's keep this to Edmonton.
Okay.
Darnell Nurse is a fine hockey player.
Yeah.
What else on that defense? What else? They are
defense.
They are a bit of a wish-wash. A mishmash, if you will.
Up front is a very good power forward. As good as it gets now, not as good as it gets 5 years ago.
You know, one time I heard he went to Marge Simpson's house and asked her if she wanted to have some efficient German sex.
Some efficient.
Some efficient German sex, you know?
Dreisaitl.
Oh, some Dreisaitl on the Seitel.
Oh, Seitel. Oh my goodness, very good.
I don't think the Oilers, who are currently in second in the North Division right now, are the number 2 team in the North. But I do think that if Mike Smith plays the way that he's been playing for the last week and a half for them, that they will make the playoffs.
He can be that guy. He just has to have it.
Arizona Mike Smith, back in the day, was one of my favorite goalies.
Agreed. Yeah.
And he's
passionate. He's crazy.
He's still that guy.
Wild. Yeah.
He's still that guy.
Sure.
Mike Smith's got to be old. How old is Mike Smith?
34.
Oh, no way. I bet he's 39.
Oh, 39.
We're gonna take a word from our sponsor. Turns out Mike Smith is 38 years old.
Yes, and the whiskey sponsor that just sponsored us is going to be 12 years old soon. Hopefully it's Glenn Livet or Glenn something.
It's gonna be
Glenn Smith.
It's gonna be Glenn Smith. Glenn Smith whiskey, brought to you by 6 Shots No Goals.
Yes. We like you.
Oilers maybe making the playoffs. Probably making the playoffs. Still pretty incomplete.
They're on a win. They won 3 in a row.
Well, you know who they do have is Adam Larson, who's pretty good.
Okay.
And then that's it. So Nurse and Larson.
Larson, Nurse.
Nursing Larson.
Okay, we're moving on to the Jets.
To the Jets.
Jets. Jets.
I don't have much to say about the Jets. However,
I do. I'm gonna tell you something about the Jets.
Dubois back tonight.
Okay. What's he saying?
I don't know. I haven't checked the score.
Okay. Well, let's find out what I gotta say about the Jets. I'm gonna tell you this right about the Jets right now. I'm gonna tell you this. Actually, I don't need to look up my notes. I'm gonna tell you this. The Jets can score like mad. They have one of the best goalies.
Oh,
in the league.
Dubois actually scored tonight.
Oh, perfect. There he goes.
It's tied 2-2 in the third.
And
we should watch that as soon as we're done.
Yep, we'll do that. Press pause on the game, please, so that we can watch a pause game. Which doesn't happen. I'm going to tell you this. The Jets, 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 are...
Nice stall.
I'm going to say the most well-rounded team in the North. I'm also going to say that they have a very good offense. Their defense is letting up a bunch of goals in times, but this line...
Well, they let goals in bunches, but in terms of overall team defense, their goals against is, I think, 4th in the league as of today. So they've had some bad games, like when they lost to Calgary 6-5 about a week ago or something like that. They've had some games where they let in a bunch of goals, but for the most part, when I look back on the Jets' history over the past month, it's mostly 1 goal, 2 goals, 0 goals. Like, the Jets have been good.
I'm going to tell you this. The line, and I don't know if it's the line, Scheifele, Ehlers, and Connor are the top 3 scoring forwards on their team. And just for the record, in our hockey pool, I have all 3 of those. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, for all the good it's doing, you're in 4th place. Moving on to the Vancouver Canucks. Finally showing a little bit of spine.
Okay, I'm going to let you take your realm on the Canucks because
honestly,
the last time I watched them, I don't have anything to say.
Honestly, I don't have that much to say except for the fact that as recently as 2.5 weeks ago, Vancouver was letting 5 goals in a game every day, and then they finally started to figure it out. Now, over their last 5 games, they're only 2-3. Including 1 overtime loss, so they're 2-1. But they're playing with more pride, and they're looking like a different team than they were before. Because in the 5 games before that, they lost all 5. And they look like a team with no pride, with no grit, with no gut on the defensive end of the puck. And now, over the last 5 games, they haven't allowed more than 3 goals in a game.
But who they played? Calgary?
Yeah, they played Calgary, but they also played Winnipeg, and they also played Toronto. And they've had some good games.
Toronto.
Where Toronto?
You're not from
Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto.
They've had some good games.
They've
had some good games where they look like a real team, and if that's the way the Vancouver's going to play over the rest of the season, then they're going to be in that 4 or 5 slot, competing. If this is Vancouver now, they'll be fine because the offense can be explosive. And because Nate Schmidt, who is one of the biggest additions to that team, still hasn't figured out how to play with the team, and because Travis Hamonic, which is a really big part of that defense, has barely played. And when he comes back, that'll be a big boon to that team.
The harmonic needs to be harmonic with the team.
He needs to harmonize.
Harmonize.
Harmonize. This is bad TV. We're moving to the Sens.
Okay, cool. The Sens. That's my cue. Cue it up.
How many of us have them? Sens.
The Sens, I'm going to tell you this. Well, they're first in my division. Why are they at first? Here they go.
Because they're first in your
The Ottawa Senators. I'm going to tell you this. As a fan, and as growing up in Ottawa, Canada, Ontario, I am going to tell you right now, we have never rebuilt ever. Never rebuilt properly. Never rebuilt ever. We finished 9th. We finished 10th. We finished 11th. We've missed all these different draft picks. We've blah, 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 blah. This is the first time we've ever rebuilt on proper. And thankfully, we are going to finish last in the North Division again. I hope that the draft works out to actually getting the first round draft pick next year. I don't know who that's going to be.
You mean the number 1 overall?
Yeah, number 1 overall. We haven't got it, blah, 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 blah. But I will tell you some bright spots. Stutzel, and I like to say the name Stutzel, very much so. Who doesn't like to say the name Stutzel?
Do you know that one time...
Say the name Stutzel.
Stutzel.
Do
you know that one time Stutzel went to Marge Simpson's house and asked if she was interested in some efficient German sex?
Oh, what did she say?
She said, ooh.
That's it?
She said, ooh, das Stutzel.
Das Stutzel. Yes, I also love the Stutzel.
This is all getting cut.
Yes, this is, yeah, getting cut. But at the same time, what they need is they need pieces along the way. They have Chabot, and they have Stutzel, and they have some very, very fun, talented players in front of them. But what they do need is good coaching along the way, and some people that are going to guide all these young players that have never played before. They got rid of Galchenyuk and all these things on trades because they weren't working out. And it was like, kind of annoying to see them try and bring in older players that were going to be mentors to them, but those guys weren't the right players. Galchenyuk and that thing, you know what I mean? But they've played fucking tough in the last 2 weeks since we met last time. They've only lost games by 2, 3, 4. There was one to the Leafs. They beat the Leafs and they came back or whatever. But it's been like losses of by 1 goal, 2 goals. This is going to build character and this is going to build them up. And if you're going to rebuild as a team, do it 2 years in a row. That's my opinion. Chicago did it 2 years in a row. Washington did it 2 years in a row. The Penguins did it 2 years in a row. What did they do in those rounds? 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups, 5 cups, 6 cups. Those are the teams that are actually going to come back, build properly, and win cups.
Look at a baseball. Look at a baseball example. Look at the San Diego Padres. Now I know that we're looking at like cap league versus a no cap league, and escrow tax and all that shit. But like, Padres were bad for a long time, and then they got some guys they could build around, and then they started buying players that they could add to it. And now that team looks like they're going to be at the tippy top for 5 years. Sen's got to do the same thing.
Yep. That's it. You got to build from the bottom, but I think they have a good little bottom, and Stützle is
like a Kyle Lowry bottom, like a good little bottom.
I like that. No, he's got a nice big bottom.
All right, fair enough.
But Stützle's got that nice. He's fucking a bit psycho for the game. I like that. He's aggressively psycho. He reminds me of Ovechkin, who's hungry as shit for the game. Not as physical as him, but like talented like him, and has that.
Also, not as big as him.
Not even close. No. But he's small compared to him, but he's got that kind of psycho passion to him, and I like that. You know, it's good.
Like a Theo Fleury.
Like a Theo Fleury. Yes, great call. Yes. Shout out to Theo Fleury.
Yeah, shouts to Theo.
You always love the Flames.
Come on.
My team, 1989, baby.
Why would you say that?
Okay.
That's gross. I feel dirty. And on that note, 6 shots, no goals.
It's a lot of content.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Johannesburg.
This is Brad, and we'd like to give a shout out to our friend Nate. You can find him on Instagram.
Nate Dog.
You can find him on Instagram at Grossbuster. He made the music for this, and our buddy Colby at
Colby Rasmus
at Grim and Proper. You can find him at grimandproper.art on Instagram and
.art.
.art.
That's fun.
And we like to give you a Sunday.heart.
Ooh.
That's nice. Everybody have a really nice week, and we see you next goddamn time.
Ciao.